Large cappuccino. Orders up.
Welcome back, guys. Today we have a special episode. You might notice a new face here. We have a new employee, Kyleen, joining the team. She has a pretty interesting background, different sports added to the group. So, today we're going to get to learn a little bit more about her, kind of how she got here. And I know Braden has a couple fun questions
I have a couple
as
really
well.
good questions for Kyleen today.
But yeah, I'll kind of throw it on to you, I guess.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about like your background, different sports, and kind of how you got here.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so jumping right into it, I guess.
Yeah.
My name is Kyleen Wilson. I'm originally from Windsor, Ontario in Canada.
Ooh.
I grew up over there right across from Detroit. So big Detroit sports fan. Go Wings, go Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up there with my family and then played like every sport I could think of growing up. I wanted to be just like my big brother. So started playing hockey, got on skates literally as soon as I could walk. My dad built a backyard rink every year, so I learned how to play out in the backyard, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So started playing hockey, fell in love with that. Typical Canadian, I know.
I was gonna say that sounds very Canadian.
Didn't really have a choice, but lucky enough, I fell in love with it, and just that kind of carried me throughout my sports career. I played a mix of sports after that. Played hockey, soccer, golf, softball, really anything that my parents would let me sign up for, I was playing.
Yeah.
Again, like all through school, played everything, and then eventually kind of narrowed it down to hockey and softball as being my top two, and kind of took it from there. So played travel sports with those all through. Canada's a little bit different. High school sports aren't really
I was gonna say
a thing like that over here. Like they're still a thing, like our high schools still offer them, but definitely not to the level that you guys have them over here.
No.
It's just kind of something that you do on fun, like for fun. It's right after school, like you go through your school day, you hang around, have practice or a game right there, like drive right to the other school. Not super serious. So I played those for fun, just kind of like an easy way to be around your sport that wasn't super competitive or super high pressure. So I played travel hockey and travel softball as well, which was like the more serious kind of level. And then lucky enough, that brought me to undergrad, where I couldn't decide which I wanted to play. So why not play both?
There you go.
Wow, in college you played both.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Sport athlete.
Yeah, I don't really know how I did it, to be honest.
I was gonna say because
yeah.
because that's like winter spring sports. So was fall like
crazy?
Fall was crazy too.
Fall was
All right.
crazy. So for fall, we had fall ball season for softball. So we were kind of like easing into it, getting back on the field. We had a couple fall games, but that was also as hockey season was picking up. So that was super busy. And then spring, which was when softball season started, that would be our like national championships, like playoffs, all of that for hockey.
Dang.
So the overlap time was pretty crazy.
Man.
It was always kind of both. But I wouldn't change it for the world. Like I loved being able to do that. I went to Adrian College in Michigan. I don't think I said that. Little D3 school. Absolutely loved it there. Would recommend it to anybody. It's a really good school for sports, really small. And I just knew like it felt like home. So I was there for 4 years, got my undergrad degree in exercise science with a minor in psychology. And had no idea what I wanted to do with that at all. I think it's
we have the same story. Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned that's pretty common. Changed a million times. Was thinking about like physical therapy or even like teaching, maybe athletic therapy, whatever it was. Had no idea what I wanted to do, but just knew that I wanted to be around sports. That was undergrad, and then my senior year was COVID.
That's crazy. That was just like
2020 was my senior year. So had like I don't know, lack of a better word, like a traumatic end to sports, I guess, because so we were in Florida for spring training for softball. And I remember we were sitting there watching the news, and it was like the first case of COVID in the States hit. So we had to go home from Florida. We got back to campus. I think it was the day or two after found out that softball season was canceled, so we didn't get our senior season. And then we were supposed to be leaving for nationals for hockey the next day. which we were ranked like number 1 going in. Like it was supposed to be our year. Like it was really crazy.
Oh.
And then nationals got canceled that day too. So like
Yeah.
my entire life of sports just came
Just
to an end
abruptly.
on like a day.
Yeah.
Clap.
Yeah, so
That's traumatic.
really
Wow.
traumatic, sad ending. But then I just like really didn't know what I wanted to do from there. So I took a year off, tried to kind of figure some things out. It was COVID, so obviously things were like a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But eventually was like, all right, like I know I need to go back to school. I want to do something. And then just kind of came across sports psychology and was like, yeah, that's it.
That's the
That's
one.
what I want to do.
Yep.
That easy. Look at that. Boom.
So yeah, and then after that, obviously, it was like figuring out grad schools, like how to kind of go about all that. And then through like some research, talking to different people, I ended up at Ball State up in Indiana for grad school.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I spent 3 years there, got dual master's degrees in sport and exercise psychology and athletic coaching education. So that way I could kind of be around both sides of like mental training for athletes with the sports psych, but also like still being around the physical side, which I love and like always want to have a part of. So yeah, I finished up grad school there, and now
Now we're
I'm
here.
here.
I was gonna say, how did you end up in Cleveland?
So yeah, I just when I moved to undergrad, I did the exact opposite of what my parents told me, and I met an American boy.
Yep.
So
Fairy tale
then
story.
I kind of got stuck here since then.
Yeah.
He's from Cleveland, so we've just kind of landed here, and that's where we're gonna be. At least for now. If my mom's watching this, we might come back to Canada at some point.
Maybe.
But yeah, we're here now. So he's from the Cleveland area. All of his family's here. And then I got super lucky to find this job. I mean, sports psych jobs, as you guys know, are not
tough.
easy to come by. So it
Yeah.
kind of added up perfectly that I found this position here.
Yeah.
And yeah, now we're here in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I just love that we all have such different backgrounds, like not just sport wise, but like just like our education and like how we've got here. But we all have the same passion for like working with athletes on the mental side of their sport. So no, that's really cool.
Yeah,
So what?
it's been a journey.
Yeah, I was gonna say. But I guess my first question would be, so when did you like start to kind of decide that hockey and softball were like the main gigs?
Ooh. It was definitely like right before high school, I would say. I think there was one summer or like 1 year, I guess, that I played travel hockey, travel softball, and travel soccer all in 1 year. And I think at the end of that, my parents and I were all like,
no.
Yeah, no, that can't happen again. And I think those two were just the two that I was the best at and the two that I enjoyed more. So I was like, all right, like that's where we're at. And then I got recruited to play softball, so I kind of thought my hockey career was going to be over.
Okay.
But thankfully, I had a really good coach that actually introduced me to the hockey coach at Adrian.
Nice.
Nice.
And kind of let me play both. So it worked out really well,
Okay.
thankfully, because I think I would have been crushed if I had lost one. But yeah.
Nice. And I know too, like you still like play in like a hockey league right now.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. It's like the highlight of my week every week. It's just like adult co-ed, like rec league. But it's just so fun to be back out there because I think, like I said, with COVID and having that end of sports, I realized how much I missed it pretty quickly because it was like 2 or 3 years that everything was shut down and I wasn't on the ice. So then like as soon as I got back, I was like, this is what I was missing. Like this is what I needed. And it's so fun. Like I'm so glad to have that to be able to play.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Know that you can still play hockey, you can still play your sport, even though it's not like at the high school or college level. You
Yeah.
can still go out there and have fun doing it, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Position-wise, position in hockey and softball, what do we got?
Yeah, hockey as a defenseman.
Okay.
I got thrown up on forward for a little bit. Not a fan of being up there, so I'm a defenseman. And then softball, I pitched all the way up until college, and then just like didn't kind of want to continue that into college. It was just too much pressure. I just like wasn't in love with it. So I played first and third and DH'd as well. So
Nice.
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I know softball, baseball has kind of a lot of those similarities.
Connections.
Yes.
But
Over the top, underhand. Yeah.
but I know like that pitcher position, I hear it from all of my athletes too, like there's just a big hot spotlight on that position.
Yeah, I think I kind of talked myself out of it too, because like I did enjoy pitching, but like in Canada, softball's not quite as big as it is over here, or at least like it wasn't when I was younger. It's growing more now. But I had some good coaches, but it was also just like very basic coaching. And then I ended up playing for a travel team out of Michigan for a year or two. And I got there, and all of the girls had their own pitching coaches. They had their own hitting coaches.
Yeah.
Like, they had this other level of coaching that I never had, and I just, like, felt really behind. So I was like, all right, like, I don't think I'm going to catch up. Like, so I just kind of took that step back because, like, I just felt like I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a high-pressure position. So
sure.
I'm not upset about that choice.
Fair,
Gotcha.
fair. But yeah, I know like being involved in 2 different sports, you probably get this question a lot. Did you have like a favorite? Like which one did you, if you did, which one did you like better or like have more passion for?
Yeah, I've definitely got that question a lot. So I finally have an answer to that because for the longest time I was like, no, like I love them both. But it was hockey. Looking back now, like hockey was like my happy place. I could go to the rink and not think about anything else. It was just like you get out on the ice and like you just forget about everything going on, and it's just fun. Whereas softball, like baseball, I'm sure you know, Brayden, but it's just like I feel like it's a lot more mental in certain ways, obviously. But it's just like a higher pressure situation, I felt like, which I don't know if that's just because like I wasn't quite as confident at the sport. But I just felt like it was a lot more of a mental battle getting out there and playing softball.
Yeah.
Feeling good, like it's long games, long days. And I still enjoyed it, but I think hockey was just like more of a stress-free, have fun, go out and play kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Did you ever take do they check like in no?
So they do now in the new professional women's league.
Yeah.
In the new
Good
professional
question.
women's league, they're actually introducing checking, which is super exciting.
Okay.
But my dad told me all growing up, just because it's no checking doesn't mean it's no contact.
There
So
you
that's
go.
kind of the rules
Okay.
we played by. Like you can't straight up go and hit somebody.
Yeah.
But you can still definitely be
can get
physical.
physical.
You can.
Some contact in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I know
Yeah,
like my brothers played hockey, and I was gonna ask like has there been like a hit where like you remember, but if you guys don't check, yeah,
I mean,
makes
there's
sense.
been a couple things.
A couple, yeah.
little scraps, a couple little fights. But
Still a very like rough kind of
Yeah.
game too, but
that's the fun stuff, though.
oh yeah, oh my god, I love watching hockey games and like seeing them like fight. Like
Yeah.
I love it.
She is
It's
a hockey
great.
fan.
I am a hockey
She
fan.
is a hockey fan.
We'll all go to a game one day.
She's a
Yeah,
hockey
I know.
fan.
Yeah, because I mean, hockey. You know, like Buffalo, like hockey's pretty big. I mean, we're right next to Canada, so makes sense. But
Nice. So, I mean, I got to get at least one couple of these
oh yeah,
questions
go
in.
for it.
So
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
you kind of already answered the one, but I still want to get to it. So, like, you can take this through a hockey route, softball, or sports in general. But like, what is like a challenge you faced being an athlete in general? It's a physical challenge, mental challenge, something that challenged you a lot when you were an athlete.
I think just finding balance being an athlete, especially being a student athlete, and like a dual sport student athlete.
yeah,
Just finding balance was really tricky, and I don't think it was something that I was great at. And it's something that I'm still working on, but just not trying to make everybody happy and not trying to do everything all the time. I definitely think there was times where I was probably really burnt out and just didn't realize it. But yeah, it was definitely a challenge trying to find that balance between being a student, taking care of my academics, showing up to both sports equally and like feeling like I could give it my best effort. Also being a friend and like not missing out on the social aspect and family. And just trying to balance all of that was a big challenge for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot being a student athlete or just an
Yeah.
athlete in general to try to manage a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I can't even imagine like 2 sports like
Oh,
doing
that's-
that. Like
yeah,
I mean,
that's
like
wild.
having one sport year round is like it's tough. I mean, you got practice every day. You got to handle your school stuff, social life, but like 2 sports on top of that, like and the overlap that kind of comes with that. That's a lot. I give you props.
Did you have like any routine or anything that maybe you tried to follow like within these seasons, especially for either hockey or softball, that you like kind of helped you?
I think just like having structure and having a schedule, like that was huge for me. Thankfully, like being a student athlete, a lot of that is kind of laid out for you. Like you have your practices, you have your classes. But just being able to stick to that, like I have my routine where like we'd have lift in the morning and then practice and then class and then I'd probably have another practice and then dinner and then like library for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
So like just very structured and being able to stick to that and like prioritizing things. I think that's kind of what did help me and like the routine that I went through, but definitely was not perfect anyway.
Well, it's a packed schedule.
Yeah.
Especially in college, it is a packed schedule.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
every single day, so.
Yeah, what did like I guess like a typical day look like when there was that overlap with your sports? Like what was like a typical week or a day like looking like?
Rough. It was rough. So for softball, generally, especially so like in the fall, like that's when it was really, really busy. We had softball lifts 5:45 in the morning, so get up at like 5:15, head to the gym. Thankfully, we were on a small campus, so like we could kind of walk to the gym, like nothing was very far. Get to the gym, go through a lift, go grab breakfast, and then I probably usually had like an 8 or 9 a.m. class. Go to class, take a little break, and then hockey practice was usually in the middle of the day, so like 2:30 or 3.
Okay.
So then head over to the rink, get on the ice, have practice, and then sometimes I'd either have to go right from that to class or go to softball practice. So it'd be like 2 or 3 practices a day sometimes. My coaches are pretty good about like letting me balance and pick and choose where I wanted to practice. Like if we had a game coming up, then I could do one instead of the other. But I was at everything usually, whether I was participating or not. So it'd be another practice and then home, dinner, library,
Homework.
go to bed, do it all
Do it
again the next
again.
day.
Yeah.
So
Oh man.
yeah, no shortage of practice or lifts in those 4 years.
No, yeah, definitely very active. But that was kind of my next question too, is like how were your coaches like with having like were there any like big conflicts with that?
Thankfully, they were really great, honestly. My softball coach, I had her all 4 years. She ended up becoming pretty close with my family, which was really nice. And she was supportive of it. We definitely had to kind of learn as we both went on like setting those boundaries. So we learned over time, like if I had a hockey game Friday or Saturday, then like our Friday morning lift, I would just be there and like I wouldn't be lifting, I would be watching. So like they were able to be flexible with that, which was really nice. And then same with my hockey coaches. My first 3 years, I had the same coach. He was amazing. Absolutely loved him. And he was really supportive too, like kind of always asking what I needed, if I needed a day off, if I needed rest, which usually I would say no, even if I did. So going back, I probably would have been a little bit more honest. But he was great. So thankfully they made it a lot easier than it could have been. And were really supportive through it all, which was good.
Nice.
Awesome.
So flipping it to the mental performance side here
Yes.
as a mental performance coach now, right? Where does the passion come from? Just wanting to be a mental performance coach, working with athletes, like where does the passion, where do you feel like is derived from?
I think just like wishing that I had somebody in this position when I was an athlete. Like we didn't have anybody like mental performance, sports psych, like mental health, like we didn't really have any of that. And I didn't really even know it was a thing until like looking into schools and figuring out what I wanted to do. And then like learning about the position and what mental performance coaches offer. I'm like, man, like if I would have had that as an athlete, like
I know
that would have been an absolute game changer. So just wanting to be there for athletes and help them through their journey, help them learn that balance, time management, like relationships with coaches, like all of that. Just being able to kind of help them enjoy their sport, get the most out of it, and just like advocate for themselves too.
I feel like we've all said that too.
Yeah.
Like just having somebody back when we played.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I think like once I got to the collegiate level, there were like some support there, but I definitely like high school and like just getting into college, I would have loved to like have somebody to just mentally like talk through those different challenges. And do you feel like you faced any like specific like mental challenges in either of your sports or struggles?
Injury I think was a big one. I didn't really have any like super significant like surgery, like season ending injuries, but I felt like, I think especially going between like all the practices that I was doing, there was always like kind of something that wasn't right or something that I was kind of battling with. So working through injuries was a big challenge. And then also just like being present and being aware. I think that was something like a big challenge that I faced, because I was just like always running all over the place and like almost in like survival mode, where like I wasn't always able to like be where my feet were and just kind of like give my all to what I was doing. Or Like, I know there's a lot of athletes that, like, after a game can give you, like, a whole rundown or, like, of their season. They can go back and be like, this game, like, this happened, this L, like, whatever. And I'm like, it was a blur. Like, I don't even know. So, like, I think just being able to take it all in and, like, focus and just be present was something that I struggled with sometimes. So, again, like, that's something that I love working on with athletes, so that way they can kind of get everything out of it.
Definitely. Yeah, I say that with a lot of my athletes, like, be where your feet are, because I know even, like, some of my high school kids, like, they're just constantly on the go with, like, what they're doing, and like school all day, practice, they're in, like, multiple different sports, and I'm like, hey, take it one step at a time. Where are you right now? Put your focus into what's going on right now. And because I mean, I can't even imagine, like, just the overwhelming feeling of, like, looking at your week and being like, I got all of this and this and this, and like, it's a lot.
It is. And I think when you're in it, you're like, oh, like, I'm doing fine, like, I'm doing it all, like, I'm putting in the work, like, it's all going fine. But then when you kind of take that step back and look at it, it's like, okay, but, like, am I just doing fine, or, like, am I doing good at these things? Like, what kind of effort, like, how am I actually doing? I think that can be kind of a game changer too, and just put things into perspective a little bit.
Did you I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I feel like I'm just rapid fire.
Go ahead. She's got it. I got a couple of good ones. I got it.
Did, like, throughout the year, did you ever get, like, a scheduled time where it's like, oh, I have, like, a week or 2 weeks of nothing?
During our breaks, like, I would get sometimes, like, Christmas break. It was nice that our fall break usually lined up with Canadian Thanksgiving. So I got to go home for that most of the years too. So, like, there was some breaks in there. And then over summer, with it being, like, a D3 school, I know it wasn't as constant as some of the bigger Division I schools. So we did have breaks, like, over the summer, which was really nice and much needed. But during, like, the actual school year and stuff, it was pretty much go. Yeah, because, definitely, like, when you get to the collegiate level, a lot of it becomes kind of like that year-round thing. And so, like, for me, we would get 2 weeks out of the year to, like, not go outside and run. And I'm like, yes. You just count down the days.
Right, so I guess, like, I mean, doing 2 sports, like, your body needs that recovery too between all of that. And you kind of mentioned, like, with injuries and stuff, like, there's always, like, nagging things kind of going on.
Always something.
That's crazy.
Driving home, though, for that winter break.
Oh, man.
That drive home. I know that the spring then going into summer for, especially a lot of college athletes can get to that now, but at least high school too. But that the winter one.
Yeah. You just take Christmas a deep breath, you get in the car.
Yep.
We did it.
Snows on the ground. I'm like, oh man, 2 weeks off or a week and a half off. That is nice.
Fair. Yeah. You got anything else?
I have a fun question for you.
Oh,
you ready?
There you go.
Yeah.
So, if your life was a movie, what would be the title of said movie?
It's a tough question.
I think it'd be like On the Move or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, something like crazy.
On the move.
On the go, always.
Yeah, literally on the go. 'Cause I don't know. Anybody that knows me, like, knows that there's always something going on. I'm always in the car driving, doing this, that, or the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just always on the go. Even, like, moving. I think we counted when I moved to Ohio. And it was, like, my 11th move in the past, like, 8 years or something.
Wow,
So, like, definitely all over the place.
Wow.
So something like that. I don't know. Life's crazy.
That's fair. What would you give your life?
See, now I came up with a question.
Throwing it back on you.
I don't even know. Greatness.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Love that.
I didn't get to think of it. I can ask it. I didn't get to think of it. I don't know. Maybe I'll come up with a better answer.
Yeah, maybe our next episode you'll have.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. We'll circle back.
One more.
Me?
Oh yeah.
No.
Pass it down. Pass the
man.
torch.
Oh if my life was a movie.
I already got my change. I got an answer change.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Run. I guess that's been like most of my life.
No, I'm changing mine.
Yeah.
Bill's Mafia.
Oh, easy. That's
the title. That's just
that
it.
makes sense.
That's it. And then mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess you can combine the greatness of the Bills Mafia.
Greatness.
Oh, wow.
So let's put it that way. There we go.
Is there a big rivalry with Detroit Buffalo?
I don't think so. I don't have
No?
anything
Okay.
against Detroit. I know
None of the
Just, like,
sports.
kinda gritty,
they're kind of on the rise too. Like just the city itself,
They're
like the
coming
football
back.
team.
Coming back?
They're coming back. So
Love it.
do you want to ask her her favorite color?
I was getting there.
Now that we got all the big long questions.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Now to the important things.
The important question.
Yes. What is your favorite color?
I'm gonna go with yellow.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Bright, sunny, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
that totally fits you. I was also an art student in college, so
Okay.
love it. But I assign a color to I assign like a color to everyone. I feel like everyone gives off like a vibe, and for sure, yellow. That's what I was thinking in my head. I'm so
Nice.
glad you said
Okay.
it.
Glad we're on the same page.
Yes.
Glad that can still
I'm
be
glad
my
your favorite color.
I don't have to change it.
But yeah. Anything else? I feel like we got
I feel like we covered a
a
bunch.
lot. Yeah.
So that's my life.
So that's everything.
That's me.
Kyleen,
Yes.
welcome to the team.
But yeah, welcome to the team, and definitely in future episodes, you guys will be seeing more of Kyleen. She'll be popping in some episodes, and so welcome aboard, and we
you.
are excited to have you here.
Yes.
Super excited to be here. So.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well, good. Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
If you like what you're listening to, be sure to follow the Athlete Cafe on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can find us wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts.